We are all about showcasing authors and supporting authors to become authorpreneurs. Natalie McQueen and Becky Norwood of Spotlight Publishing bring to you their Authors Spotlight and expert interviews. Success as an author hinges around well-thought-out marketing, which begins the moment you put your pen to paper or begin to tap the keyboard. Their expertise guides their authors to become #1 bestsellers, yet it doesn't stop there. The book establishes expertise, builds a business, and opens the doors to being seen, being read, and then being paid for their knowledge. Listen to this informative interview by Spotlight Publishing with Natalie and Becky.
So we're really delighted to be here on our Facebook Live today. I'm Becky Norwood, and this is Natalie McQueen with the Spotlight on Your Business and Spotlight Publishing. And we are thrilled to bring you Robert Clancy with Spiral Share Designs. We've been using his services with Spiral Share. Love it. We've been using it with our authors for our own promotion. But Natalie and I wanted to bring Robert on and just share the value of Spiral Share and what has resulted from him using it himself and actually being the designer, the creator, the inspiration behind it all. So welcome, Robert Clancy.
Well, thank you for having me.
So tell us about what your experience. You're a best-selling author. You've done a lot of amazing things. I see you on a lot of different interviews of things you have going on. So yeah. Tell us about you, what you do, and the value of what you're bringing to the table today.
Sure. It's well, I started with this is my fourth book, my third print book that is coming out, and it launched in October. So as you know, you're writing and getting ready for everything. One of the people that it's Teresa Dugrobois, who wrote Mass Influence, but she's also the head of the Evolutionary Business Council.
Right.
And I just sort of modeled my initial concept of how to market this after hers, because she did such a beautiful launch using fellow influencers and friends and other people to promote the book. And what she did is she had probably one of the most organized emails with all the different swipes. So it was suggested copy for Twitter, suggested copy for LinkedIn, suggested copy for Facebook. If you have a newsletter, here's a little swipe of copy you can put in there. Here's the marketing images. And I'm not only a spiritual person, but I'm also a programmer. So I have the ones and zeros and the X's and O's. Looked at this and I thought, what if I integrated that? Because we had code on our platform with my programming team, and I thought, what if I made a dashboard of all the swipes that people could just click? And as soon as I brought that to my team, they kind of had their jaw open. They said, do you know what you have here? And so I did a mock-up of it, sent it to Teresa Dugrobois and said, hey, I took your model, but then I've done this. And she said, oh my God, we need to get on a call right now. Do you realize what you have here? And, so I really built this to launch my book Soul Ciphers. And it, as you know, planning a book launch, especially if you're going to market yourself, I have a publicist, I have a literary agent. I decided to self-publish because I also own a marketing firm and can do all of the things that a publisher would bring. And then there's a lot more revenue and you can also control the project, which was important to me.
Very important.
So in doing that, there's pros and cons. As you know, you're trying to market the book yourself. You've got to do all those things. So I spent about 6 months. My book was done, but I planned. And that's probably the key step in launching any book, is planning ahead. So I didn't rush it. I thought there's no hurry to get this out, other than, obviously I want people to read it, but I wanted to take my time and build up the momentum on it, but also list out and speak to a lot of influencers and say, hey, will you support my book? And one of the things, and I have a condensed version of my presentation on using influence to market, but...
And you're welcome to share your screen for any point.
Sure, and it's about... the big picture of that is supporting others. And then when it's your turn, don't expect them to support you, but if they have the bandwidth, if they have the time, they may support you. So I built up a list, about 54 influencers. It had a reach of over probably about 4 million people worldwide. to be able to launch the book. And then I loaded it all into my app, the Spiral Share, spiralshare.com, and I had all the swipes and made it very easy for those people to share this out. All they had to do was go and they're like, oh my God, I just click and I can just share on Twitter, share on Facebook, and they can write it in their own voice. And that's really the key thing. It's different than asking somebody to retweet your post, because they're writing it to their audience who they have built a rapport with, who trust them, who have their word. And also I selected influencers who were kindred to my message. So my book would reach their audiences. It wasn't just, you know, let's have anybody push this thing out and hope for the best. I selected very specific influencers whose audiences resonated with the message of my book, who would have synergy with that. So that's one of the key things about marketing. So I'm just going to go over to share screen here, and I'm going to hit my presentation. So this is just a couple of notes. This is probably, there's like 40 slides in this, but I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. So I'm not going to share all 40 slides, but the big thing about when you're launching a book is standing out and getting noticed. And the first thing that I did is connecting with other influencers. There's Dr. Nandy, and I had received his book. I read the book, loved it. I did instead of just doing a photo, I actually did a video review of his book. And I tagged it on social media. I retweeted him, got into his message. You know, he had this beautiful chapter on meditation. And also he had a lot of recipes in there for smoothies and things that are going to help with your health and everything. So a lot of great stuff. And it was really relevant to my audience. So I just was happy to share the book. And what happened was, you know, I shared it because I loved the book. I didn't share it because I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to connect with this person. I'm going to, you know, try to make them see me. I just put it out there. And then I went on my way. Well, apparently there was some kind of selfie contest going on, because he's got like 1.2 million people on his Facebook page, and he has a national television show, and it's actually international, seen by about 300 million people. Wow. Had no idea. I just was sharing the book, put it out, loved it. And the next thing I was on a call with a producer and ended up getting on the show.
Oh, that's funny.
Within 4 months. And you can see my book, if you look closely there on the table, that's my book in front of him there. And he holds it up like this. So he literally takes my book and says, you know, this book is, I've read it. They, you know, the producers did all that. But I won the selfie contest too, which I had no idea. And then they started looking into who is this guy, because my Facebook page grabbed their attention. And the next thing you know, you're on, you know, a show. The next thing is to understand how to collaborate and co-create with other influencers. And Dee Wallace, I now have a television show, and that came out of launching my book and then having it become an international bestseller, and it just kept going geometric from there. So I had Dr. Joe Vitale on the show, and his good friend is, you know, he's friends with Dee Wallace, recommended us to her. And she had a beautiful book. I read her book, Bright Light, and shared that out. She came on the show. The number one thing is be yourself. I don't try to be someone else. When she came on, I'm just like, hey, Dee, how you doing? I felt like I knew her. I had read her book. I knew her journey, and put it out there. And we ended up sharing out her passion, which is really helping other people through healing. And she has this whole message. So I tweeted it out. It got retweeted by her official page. So now there's like a synergy happening. And then we ended up doing a Facebook Live with her and shared her message out to our people. And, you know, there's different tribes. So there's the Wellness Universe. There's the Evolutionary Business Council. There's, you know, groups that you belong to. And I contacted a few of them, said, hey, I'm going to be doing this wonderful Facebook Live. Hey, if you guys jump in there, we'll give you a shout out. You know, maybe you can share it or push that out. So it's using that, but I can also use Spiral Share to promote whatever I'm doing. So I can use that to promote my Facebook Lives, for instance. And so here's Dee. She came on with my co-host, Lisa Winston. We had an amazing time, you know, discussing what real love is and what self-love is. So it actually helped people. It shared what Dee's passion is. It connected to my tribe. And then you are co-creating and collaborating with influencers. One of the things to understand with influencers, they're busy. So they time is their commodity. The other thing is that what might seem like something that you do with an influencer that that you would do to a friend, such as taking them to lunch at a 5-star restaurant, might sound like, oh my God, I'm giving you something. You're really asking an influencer to take time out of their schedule and one of their lunches. So let's